Okay, I'm going to call the Special Planning Committee to order. It says Wednesday, but it's Tuesday, September 15th. It's 6:42 p.m. Members present: Bruce Truitt, Doug Vogt, James Mead, and myself, Chair. Bucyrus City Council Platting Committee will meet in special session at 6:40 on Tuesday, September 15th in council chambers. The meeting has been called by Mayor Jeff Reeser for the limited purpose of discussing annexation of an East Mansfield Street property. Number one, annexation of East Mansfield Street property. Mr. Lord.
Yeah, you have two pieces of legislation there that we've put together for you. 32/2020 is the statement of services. These are the statement of services that the city will be agreeing to provide to any annexed property. It's essentially the basic services that the city provides to any of the properties within the city: police, fire, sewer, water, streets. The second one is 33/2020. That one is basically that you're agreeing to accept any annexation. It's going to be an expedited type 2 annexation, which means that we agree forevermore that the property remains both in Westone Township and the city of Bucyrus. We will pay city income tax to the city. Property tax gets split between the two entities. And that's an expedited process. That was something that was recommended by the county. The owner is okay with it. So that's the process we're going forward with.
Mr. Chair, I have a question for the law director on 33, section 2. It mentions the clerk of council delivers a copy to the county auditor, county recorder, secretary of state, board of elections for the county.
Mm-hmm.
How about the county engineer? Because whenever we do a vacation of an alley or a street, it goes to the engineer.
No, the county commissioner sent it to the county engineer and they sign off on it. In fact, the plat with the owners had drawn up, has already went to the county engineer. He had asked for some revisions, so that's going back to the owner's engineer right now to make a couple of revisions to that plat. So they're involved from that stage.
Does anybody have any questions?
Mr. Chair, I'm not under committee. I've got a question. Mr. Ratliff, I was trying to read through here to see where it explains the way that the taxation is going to occur. Is that all wrapped up under the type 2?
Yeah.
And is that set forth by the ORC or?
It is contained in the ORC.
So what happens? What happens down the road if the ORC changes to where we would get less or no taxes? Is that a possibility?
I suppose anything's a possibility,
That's
but
worrisome though.
no, I mean, it's done under the old version, although while you asked me that, I was looking at that, there's a typo in the second whereas. It's section 709.023. The zero got that out, it's just a 0.23. Yeah, that's set forth in there. And we had the auditor run the numbers for the owners and potential development, and the difference was at the high end was $20 a year.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? So, I entertain a motion to declare this as an emergency. On both pieces?
Yep. I'll second them both.
I'll make a motion for both. All right. I have a motion for both ordinances and a second for both. Is there any other questions before we vote? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion be passed. Okay, I will adjourn the meeting at 6:46 p.m.
Recording.
Okay, It is 6:50 and I'm officially calling the Special Public Lands and Building Committee meeting to order on September 15th, 2020. Bucyrus City Council Public Lands and Buildings Committee has scheduled a special meeting for Tuesday, September 15th at 2020 at 6:50 p.m. in Council Chambers, Bucyrus City Hall. The meeting has been called by Mayor Jeff Reeser for the limited purposes of discussing the CARES Act relief funds contract. So if you could talk to us about this, Mayor Reeser.
Yeah, well, just, if you look on the other side there, it's, second letter, the CARES Act, is, I think we're gonna have 3 swats of money. First one was $212,000, the second one is about 100, a little over 100, and I just was informed we got one more coming, so, and the bad news, the good news, we got the money coming, the bad news is we have to find places to use it pretty quickly. And Kin Brothers was not on our original list, am I right there, Mr. Law Director?
That is correct.
So we have to add Kin Brothers as one of our contractors, be able to pay them. That's all that's about.
Okay, so the 212,000, is that for the stuff here with the door?
That's per, $212,000 is gonna be the things that we use for city buildings.
That's all plumbing?
That's the plumbing, it's the doors, changing the doors around, touch-free doors, everything that makes the city more touch-free. So the theory being touch-free, virus-free, healthier.
So would putting cameras and stuff and
No, it's
setting
got
up,
nothing to do with cameras, it's just,
that would,
it'll be like doors like similar to Kroger.
Right.
Yes.
I was just wondering, because you're like, we gotta figure out more things we had to do, would there be any way to get so that, you know, if we do get stuck on Zoom again, or we're only the council's allowed here and people wanted to interact, would there be a way to set something
There's
up
a
like
list,
that?
there's a list of things, I don't know if you got that. Maybe I was passed up before you came on council. I'll get a copy of that we can use the funds for. It's a pretty strict list.
Okay,
So primarily, it's things that weren't in your city budget to begin with, and that can be used for relief from coronavirus.
okay, so you need us to make a motion to,
Yes, approve Kin Brothers, because Kin Brothers is gonna be doing the plumbing.
Do you, Mr. Mayor,
go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, do we have to make this an emergency? Is there a deadline on
Yes,
this?
well, yeah, please make it an emergency, because the money has to be,
Okay, that's what I want to make sure
yeah,
of.
it has to be earmarked by the middle of October, otherwise we have to return it.
Okay. Well, then I will make a motion as an emergency for resolution 231-2020 for the appropriations of the relief funds from the coronavirus.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
Aaron, we have to have the money earmarked, but it has to be spent by the end of the year, so that's why we need to have for an emergency. I don't think I made myself completely clear there. We have till the end of the year to spend it, but we need to let the county auditor, the money's given to the county first and then dispersed to the city. Anything that we don't spend out of that has to go back to the county. If no one else claims it, then it goes back to the state, so that's why the emergency was necessary.
All right, the motion's passed, and we're going to adjourn this meeting at 6:54. Don't worry about it. It's okay. I was honest.
And call the regular Bucyrus City Council meeting to order for September 15th, 2020 at 7 p.m. Please stand for our invocation by Pastor Sean Magnolia of Woodlawn United, and then following we'll have the pledge of allegiance.
I invite you to pray with me as you are led. God, in many places, your word and scripture remind us to be slow to anger and rich in love. May this meeting though it might be contentious at various times, be reflective of that. Help us to be quick to listen and slow to speak, and to trust you with everything going on in the world. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Peter. Here. Myers. Here. Key. Here. Trucca.
Here.
Sherrick.
Here.
Vogt.
Here.
Alsep.
Here.
For you are the minutes from September 1st, 2020 regular meeting. Does anybody have any questions on those? Motion to do the second.
So moved.
All in favor? All opposed? Communications and petitions, we have a letter.
We have one letter. It's dated September 11th from the City Planning Commission. It's addressed to City Council and the Council President. It's regarding items approved by the Planning Commission for City Council's review. Mr. President, the Bucyrus City Planning Commission met on Thursday, September 10, 2020. It is requested that the following items approved by the Planning Commission be submitted to the appropriate council committees for review. 1, proposed zoning reclassification of properties from apartment residential AR to general business GB. Properties proposed for zoning reclassification include 117, 121, 221, 223, 225, 229, 285 A through C, 305 and 315 River Street, parcel ID numbers 0800 1871 1000, 0800 1573 5000, 0800 1728 9000, and 0800 1487 8000. See enclosed, and you'll see the attachment. Proposed modification, this is number 2, proposed modification of Bucyrus Codified Ordinance 1157.04, newly annexed areas, which reads territory which is annexed into the city of Bucyrus subsequent to the effective date of this ordinance shall, upon the effective date of the annexation, be, and the following words are lined out, zoned into the RE district. And then the following lines are added, classified as unzoned territory. Within 3 months from the date of annexation, the Planning Commission shall present a zoning plan for the annexed territory to the City Council. City Council may hold a public hearing on the proposed zoning plan as recommended by the Planning Commission. After said hearing, City Council shall approve or approve with modification the zoning plan. Thank you, Mayor Jeff Reeser, Chairman Planning Commission. The first item has to be referred to the Planning Committee. The second item is already in the Planning Committee.
Make a motion to refer the first item to the planning committee.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Public participation, is there anybody in the public that wants to speak, come to the stand? State your name and address. Okay, none is here, heard. Standing committee reports. Finance committee, Mr. Huber.
Yes. Bucyrus City Joint Regular Committee meeting met Thursday, September 3rd, 2020, from 6 o'clock to 7:57 p.m. Members present, myself, Kevin Myers, James Mead, and Sherrick, Doug Vogt, Bruce Trucca, these are all set posted and absent. Number 1, Bucyrus City Joint Regular Committee meeting was called to order by myself at 6 p.m. Public participation, there was none. Order of committee business, A, Finance Committee met from 6:02 to 6:07 p.m. Okay, members present for Finance was Kevin Myers, Drew Trucca, James Mead, and myself, Chair. I'm sorry, it was just Kevin Myers, James Mead, and myself were present. Number 1, fund creations. Auditor Joyce Schiffer explained that she needs to refer the creation of 2 funds to accommodate incoming grants to fund the victim advocate, specifically 285 2021 Ohio Crime Victims Assistant /7728 Victim Advocate /21 Personal Services, and 286 2021 Victims of Crime Act /7728, Victim Advocate 21, Personal Services. Myers made a motion to request emergency legislation to amend ordinance 65-2019 to create the two funds, with a second by me. Motion passed by voice vote. Number 2, appropriations. Auditor Joyce Schiffer explained that the following appropriations need to be made. A, from unappropriated 285-2021 Ohio Crime Victims Assistance Fund, $8,000 to 21 Personal Services /7728 Victim Advocate /285-2021 Ohio Crime Victims Assistance to cover the first quarter of a grant that begins October 1st. B, from unappropriated 286-2021 Victims of Crime Act funds, $5,000 to 286-2021 Victims of Crime Acts /7728 Victim Advocate /21 Personal Services to cover the first quarter of a grant that begins October 1st. And C, from unappropriated 835 drug law enforcement funds, $3,750 to 85 drug law enforcement /7110 police department /24 materials and supplies and drug fines. Myers made a motion to request emergency legislation to amend ordinance 65-2019 to make the appropriations, with a second by me. Motion passed by voice vote. Number 3, transfer. Schiffer explained that the following transfer needs to be made. A, $15,000 from 23 contractual services.
1,500.
I'm sorry. 1,500 from, bottom numbers, from 23 contractual services /7780 and 7781 general government /programs. 7, general government to 25 capital outlay /7110 and 7111 police department /program. I, security of persons and property in donations for the K-9 unit. Meyer made a motion to request emergency legislation to amend ordinance 65-2019 to make the transfer, with a second by me. Motion passed by voice vote. Due to recess, Finance Committee at 6:07 p.m.
Anybody have any questions for Finance Committee? No questions. Health and Safety, Mr. Myers.
Met from 6:07 to 6:17 p.m. Members present, James Mee, Mark McKeever, and myself, Chair. The only topic of the agenda was civil service testing. Police Chief Neil Ossenheimer and Acting Fire Chief Chad Schwemley addressed the committee about the viability of maintaining active civil service lists for open positions in their department. Ossenheimer noted that it takes 60 to 90 days to bring a new hire on in the police department. He added that maintaining an active list would require an expenditure of funds when his department may go a year or two without making a new hire. Schwemley noted that the fire department likes the idea of maintaining an active list, but that there could be drawbacks to it as well. Law Director Rob Ratliff added that there are provisions for emergency hires in certain circumstances. The item was closed and a recessed health and safety meeting at 6:17 p.m.
Does anybody have any questions for Health and Safety? Public Lands and Buildings, Ms. Scher.
Public Lands and Buildings Joint Regular Committee meeting was Thursday, September 3rd, 2020, from 6:17 p.m. to 7:28 p.m. Members present were Mark Peter, Doug Vogt, and myself, Chair. Friendship Lane apartment proposal. Developer has expressed an interest in building the 3-story apartment building on city land west of Friendship Lane. Since the proposal was referred to committee on August 18, 2020, multiple residents in the area attended various council meetings to voice their opposition to the proposal, and petitions opposing it signed by 130 people have been accepted by council. Vicky DeShawn, 1108 Hillcrest Drive, noted that the land in question is presently zoned R1, suburban residential, and not AR, apartment residential. Greg White, 1125 Hillcrest Drive, and Mike Castor, 130 Brentwood Street, expressed support for erecting a barricade on the Friendship Lanes Such a proposal would have to be approved by the Traffic Commission before it could be addressed by council. Council President Kurt Bankhauser said he would look into into the possibility of donating a surveillance camera for the location. As for the proposed apartment building, folk noted that the developer is no longer interested in building on the site. Casper asked that council consider legislation restricting development on the site. Law Director Rob Ratliff noted that such an ordinance would still be subject to repeal in the future. The item was closed. Number 2, the street garage. Mayor Jeff Reeser said interested parties have contacted the city about acquiring the old street garage on Isaacville Road and asked for the committee's direction on the matter. The property has been appraised at $525 million, about $1,000, sorry, I'm trying to be like him. Vogt added that he spoke with service foreman Jeff Dunn, who spoke in favor of such a transaction. Bankhauser asked how much construction of a new building for the street department at its facility on West Irving Street would cost, and Reeser responded that it would likely be around $1 million, and that the funds are available to make it up the difference following the sale of the Isaacville property. McKeever made a motion to support the administration pursuing the sale of the property with a second by vote. Motion passed by voice vote. No legislation is needed at this time. Number 3, disposition of various city properties concerning 331 Blickey Street. Law Director Rob Ratliff noted that the city has acquired the property through a tax foreclosure and plans to demolish it. Concerning 817 Woodlawn Avenue, Ratliff noted that it's now an empty lot and the owner wishes to donate it to the city. He added that it's likely not a buildable lot, but is contiguous to other city property. Vogt made a motion to request emergency legislation to accept the donation with a second by McKeever. Motion passed by voice vote. Concerning 1160 Whetstone Street, Ratliff noted that the city is competing with the Crawford County Land Bank for it, with a court date set for September. Concerning 1031 Woodlawn Avenue, Ratliff noted that the sale restrictions on the city property site of the old elementary school have been lifted, so it is now available for sale. A neighbor is interested in acquiring the lot to increase the size of his yard. McKeever asked that an appraisal be made of the property before the committee considers what to do with the property and vote agreed. Concerning 114 Lucas Street, Ratliff noted that the city owns the property and plans to demolish it. Concerning 204 West Mary Street, Ratliff noted that the city-owned property currently has tenants who would like to purchase it, and that it has been appraised for $15,000 to $20,000. He added that the committee can move to transfer the property to the City Community Improvement Corporation for sale, or move to put it out to bid. Vogt made a motion to request emergency legislation to transfer the property to the CIC on the condition that the CIC sell it for not less than $17,500. McKeever seconded the motion, was passed by voice vote. Concerning 303 West Galen Street, Ratliff noted that the county land bank currently owns the lot, which is buildable, and that the city is maintaining it. McKeever made a motion to request emergency legislation to accept the property from the land bank with a second by vote. Motion passed by voice vote. Number 4, sale of city parking lot 2. Bankhauser asked if the sale of the lot at 220 North Sandusky from the CIC to Baker's Restaurant has gone through, but replied that it has, but the money hasn't been sent to the city yet. Number 5, direct recess to Public Lands and Buildings Committee at 7:28 p.m.
Anybody have any questions for Public Lands and Buildings? Any non-plating, Mr. McKeever?
Yeah, Platting met Thursday, September 3rd, from 7:28 to 7:56 p.m. Members present, Doug Vogt, James B., and myself, Chair. Number 1, annexation of properties on State Route 4 North, East Mansfield Street. Law Director Rob Ratliff explained that the city has been approached by the owner of the property at 1862 through 1868 State Route 4 North to have it annexed by the city as a Type 1 annexation, meaning it will no longer be a part of Holmes Township. No action by council is required at this time. Ratliff explained that the city has been approached by the owner of the property at 1885 East Mansfield Street to have it annexed by the city as a Type 2 annexation, meaning that it will be a part of the city and Whetstone Township, and subject to taxation by vote. No action by council is required at this time. 2, sidewalk maintenance and repair. Council President Kurt Fankhauser introduced a draft proposal for setting up a city-funded grant program for residents interested in repairing their sidewalks. Per both the Bucyrus Codified Ordinances and Ohio Revised Code, property owners are responsible for maintaining and repairing their sidewalks. Consequently, while various grants are available for the construction of new sidewalks, none exist for the maintenance and repair of existing sidewalks. Vote asserted that it is unfair for the city to require property owners to maintain their sidewalks if they are prohibited from removing trees in the tree lawn responsible for damaging the sidewalks. The matter was continued. Fankhauser read an August 17, 2020 letter the city sent to a downtown business owner concerning complaints about the cleanliness of sidewalks in the downtown business district. The letter was unsigned. Fankhauser added that the letter has offended the recipient. City Service Safety Director Jeff Wagner noted that the letter was sent to several downtown businesses. Ratliff added that his office has no outstanding property maintenance complaints about properties in the district. Number 3, the Keeper recess planning committee at 7:56 p.m.
Anybody have any questions for Platting? Hearing none. Ad hoc committee on council rules.
Yes, sir. We met at 7:57 to 8 o'clock p.m. Members present were Aaron Sherrick, Mark McKeever, and myself as chair. We met in a special meeting to begin at the conclusion of the joint regular committee meetings for the limited purpose of amending and approving the minutes from our meeting from July 9th. The council clerk distributed the draft of the July 9, 2020 committee minutes, including 2 new amendments, which changed who seconded the motion to request legislation amending Bucyrus Codified Ordinance Chapters 111 and 113, and describe how the vote on the motion proceeded. Specifically, the first new amendment notes that the council person Lisa Alstead seconded the motion, not Truca. This follows an earlier amendment agreed to on August 20th of 2020 that Truca seconded the motion, not Alstead. The second new amendment states it was then acknowledged that Alstead is not on the committee, and although it isn't clear on the audio recording of the meeting that Truca's utterance represented a second, McKeever and Chair Myers acknowledged that Truca seconded the motion. The motion then passed by voice vote with McKeever and Truca clearly voting in the affirmative. The clerk noted that the first amendment agreed to on August 20, 2020, printed in red in the new draft, reads 8/2 of 2020 in error, and should read 8/20 of 2020. Vicki DeShawn, 11 of 8 Hillcrest Drive, reiterated the same, and also noted that the second amendment agreed to on August 20, 2020, printed in red, and in the new draft also reads 8/20, 2020 in error, and should read 8/20 of 2020. It said 8/2 of 2020 in error, and should have read 8/20 of 2020. McKeever made a motion to approve the minutes of the July 9, 2020 meeting of the Ad hoc Committee on Council Rules and Procedures as amended above with a second by Sheriff. That motion passed by voice vote. Myers asked for a motion to adjourn the Ad hoc Committee on Council Rules and Procedure. Motion by McKeever and seconded by Sheriff to adjourn at 8 p.m. Motion passed by voice vote.
Anybody have any questions for the ad hoc committee? No questions. Moving on to service committee, Mr. Truca.
Service Committee had a special Service Committee meeting on Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020 at 4 p.m. Members present were Aaron Sherrick, Kevin Myers, and myself, Chair. Number 1, the Service Committee has called a special meeting for Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020 at 4 p.m. for the limited purpose of discussing water line expansion outside the city limits. Water line expansion, Service Safety Director Jeff Wagner explained that the Wyandotte County Village of Nevada is facing a decision about whether to build a new water plant or have water extended to it from the city of Bucyrus. Lynn McKeever of McKeever and Associates noted that he has been working with the Rural Community Assistance Program, which found that the financial assistance is available for water line expansion from Winford Schools to Nevada, which would otherwise have a price tag of $1.5 million. McKeever asked for a decision from the committee on whether it's open to the city pursuing the project, although what Nevada would pay for Bucyrus water would still have to be negotiated. Nevada uses 40,000 gallons of water daily. The 5-mile-long water line would belong to the city, and McKeever anticipated being able to find additional customers along the line's route. He explained that anywhere from 55% to 100% of the cost of the expansion could be covered via $750,000 in principal forgiveness, $375,000 from OPWC grant, and $375,000 20-year loan at 0% interest. An additional CBDG grant could also be available. Wagner noted that the decision would have to be made whether to charge Nevada the traditional out-of-town rate of 1.5 times the rate for the city residents, or if the city should work out another arrangement, which would then raise the question of whether that should be extended to other out-of-town customers. Mike Cal, computer supervisor for the city's utility department, distributed figures that showed the city bringing in $123,191.76 from Nevada annually in water bills at the current out-of-town rate. That number would drop by $41,099.04 at the in-town rate. Wagner added that Crawford County has approached the city again about having the city take over the county's water line, which is debt-free. McKeever added that engineering plans for the new water line along State Route 98 North are nearly complete, and the approval will be needed by the Ohio Department of Transportation and the Ohio EPA before things go out to bid. Engineering for water line expansion along Stetzer Road is also underway, and that line should be up and running well into 2021. For a Nevada line, Ohio, whatever it is, OPWC funds for 2021 will be made available next July. Myers made a motion expressing support for the administration of pursuing an expansion of the city water to the village of Nevada, with a second by Sherrick. Motion passed by voice vote. The matter will go to the full council for a vote. No legislation is required at this time. I ask for a motion to adjourn the service committee. Motion by Sherrick, second by Myers. Motion passed by voice vote. The meeting adjourned at 5:07 p.m.
Does anybody have any questions for the service committee?
No questions, just comments. As I sat on that committee for 2 years and am no longer part of that committee, thank you guys for continuing the efforts to expand the water line out into the county, because that is a very vital part of our community surviving and moving forward in the future, and also us taking care of our water plan. So thank you to the administration as well for continuing those efforts.
Mr. President, you may want to have a full council vote on that Nevada proposition, just for the record.
If we want, let's just have a vote here on allowing the administration to keep pursuing the Nevada water line expansion, so get a motion.
So moved.
Second? Oh wait, I can't second that, I'm not
I
an
think Kevin made it first.
Okay, all right, second.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Does anybody have any additional questions for service committee? Platting, again, we had a meeting right before this meeting, Mr. Cooper.
Platting met Tuesday, September 15th at 6:42 p.m. Number one, it was on the annexation, members present, distributed Doug Pope, James, me, and myself there. Number one, annexation of East Mansfield Street property. This is to annex the property at 1885. It was 1885 East Mansfield Street. the old Alchemist place into the city. There's two ordinances, number 32-2020, to annex it with all the city services provided, and ordinance number 33-2020, which was to for the taxation of the property, to make it a type 2. Asked for a motion. Doug Pope made 2 motions for both ordinances as emergency. Bruce seconded both motions. Passed by voice vote. Committee meeting ended at 6:46 p.m.
Any questions for that planning committee meeting? Hearing none. Ms. Sharon, for the public lands and buildings meeting that was just prior to this council meeting?
We just had a special Public Lands and Buildings Committee today, Tuesday, September 15th at 6:50 p.m. Members present were Mark McKeever, Bruce Trucott, Doug Vogt, and myself as chair. So, City Council Public Lands and Buildings Committees scheduled a special meeting for today at 6:50 p.m. in council chambers at Bucyrus City Hall. The meeting was called by Mayor Jeff Reeser for the limited purposes of discussing the CARES Act relief funds contract. We had to move to accept and use the emergency CARES monies. The first batch of money was $212,813.28 in Corona relief funds. The city of Bucyrus needed certain projects to create a safer, hands-free, and contactless environment on the city properties. The current coronavirus pandemic provides a real and present emergency pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 735.01, and therefore expenditures in excess of the statutory bid amount are permitted. It is therefore resolved by council that, resolved by council, 2/3 of all members elected here to concurring section 1 that the Bucyrus Public Service Safety Director be hereby authorized directed on behalf of the city of Bucyrus to enter into a contract with Ken Brothers Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning not to exceed the amount of the CARES Act relief funds for coronavirus-related improvements to the city properties. Section 2, this resolution is hereby declared to be an emergency measure in order to expend federal funds prior to the program deadlines, same being deemed necessary for the preservation of the health and safety and welfare of the citizens of the city of Bucyrus, Ohio, and shall therefore be in full force in effect from today, Tuesday, the 15th of September 2020. The motion was made for the emergency by Mr. McKeever. It was seconded by Vogt, and the motion passed by voice vote. And the meeting was adjourned at 6:54 p.m.
Does anybody have any questions for that Public Lands and Building Committee meeting? Hearing none. Traffic Commission, Mr. Mayor.
Nothing to report. No meeting scheduled at this time, but I can entertain traffic questions if we have any.
Anybody have any? Mr. McHugh?
Mr. McKeever.
I want to thank the city for, I see they were fixing areas that needed fixed, patching,
Yes.
and making it better travel.
Had some nice calls about that too.
Irving Street is very nice.
What street?
Irving.
Isn't that nice? West
Yes.
Irving is on for next year.
Taylor's gonna be amazing here.
Taylor, yeah. And we had
And
to
I
call
noticed
some.
they put a stop sign up on the corner of Lane and, is it Lane and Plymouth? Yeah, where the drive-through is.
Yeah.
It's nice. I can actually get out now.
Yeah, so Ridges was milled this week. East Charles was milled also this week, and they'll be paid very shortly. So a few things yet to go.
Is the same company gonna be repairing Hopley?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the Hopley will be redone. Yeah, we had meetings on that, so.
Any other questions for traffic? Need a motion to accept committee minutes and related committee reports collectively. All in favor? Opposed? Report of city officers, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. President, I don't have a formal report tonight, but I do want to mention something. We had a 6 o'clock tree commission meeting at All Miller Park. All Miller, I do want to say something about All Miller Park. And you know how I feel about it. It's a beautiful park. We get so many good compliments on it. Our staff takes great care and great pride in it. The place was hopping tonight. More people I've seen along. There were runners, there were walkers, there were bike riders, there were softball players, there were baseball players. They were just people hanging out. It was really nice tonight. So it's a community effort to keep a park that nice going. We owe a big deal, big amount of debt to people like the tree commission, ladies that walk through there, and men that just always picking up stuff. Kiwanis, you know what they did. We've mentioned that before. Did a beautiful job. Pickleball, and the pickleball is just going nuts in this town here. And Kiwanis funded 3 more courts, which
And I think we're gonna work with you to take care of some more of that stuff as well.
well, thank you very much. Yeah, and Rotary is working on a roof for the Knappenberger bandstand, and also some other amenities on the bike trail. So where would we be without people that pitch in and do good work? So, and these service clubs take the lead. So it's a great park. So,
We got a lot of great people in our community.
yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Anybody have any questions for the mayor, Mr. McKeever?
I should have asked during the traffic commission, how
Too late.
Well, you're still the mayor, so how is,
Point of order.
how soon are you having one for the traffic commission on, especially Friendship Lane, to address the concerns that were brought up about the traffic going on at all different hours?
Yeah, that's a police issue.
But I mean, is there?
We've already mentioned that to the police department. So.
But I mean, are you gonna consider some type of barricade system to keep them from being clear back there? Especially, from the entrance to our wastewater treatment plant, you can cut that off from there after, dusk or, I'm just asking.
Certainly can be considered. Would they go off-road and rut that up? That's the only issue that was brought up in the discussion.
Well,
We'll bring it up at traffic commission.
Here's a possible suggestion for that.
Strips?
You're wanting trees.
Yeah.
You could put barricades of certain vegetation there
Okay.
to prevent them from, they'd have to go through them.
Oh, good idea, yeah.
So just an idea.
I'll write down, we'll bring that up at traffic commission.
Or just a sign saying this area is monitored by video.
We got a light down there?
There's a street light right there at the corner. Yeah.
I meant down actually out
No.
I didn't think there was, but.
I pulled in there over the weekend and there was some kind of a rope across. You couldn't get all the way back to the bridge.
I'll check
I
it out,
don't know if it
yeah.
had something to do if they just blacktopped it or.
Could have been just a blacktop, yeah. But typically it doesn't have one.
Okay, any other last questions from the mayor? Safety Service Director's report.
Mr. Wagner will have a updated report on Friday. He will send an email out to everyone on Friday.
Okay. Law Director, Mr. Ratliff, do you have a report?
I don't have a report, but I do want to say thank you to the Bratwurst Festival. The movie night this past Friday was fantastic. The food trucks and the people, great event in the community. There was just a steady flow of people getting fried food, sandwiches, and
And ice cream.
other yummy stuff.
It was all healthy too.
Yeah, it was a low calorie, great stuff.
Kevin was nice enough to buy me dinner.
Yeah, and the movie was, you know, the movie's all right, yeah.
Notre Dame won. Rude.
So we've got another one coming up, October 16th, it'll be Beetlejuice. The Browers Festival Committee tells me it'll be even bigger and better on the street, so.
Is the Browers hosted or sponsored now and again?
Yeah.
All four of them. Did we have a lap night this weekend?
There was.
There was one.
Yep. There's gonna be another one in October, I believe, the 10th, actually. Yep. That's becoming a big thing that's happening again around here. That's cool, too.
This used to be a big lap in town.
Absolutely.
Does anybody have any
No.
questions?
Oh, no.
For the law director?
It went on when I was in high school.
Okay, auditor is not here. Do we have something from her?
Yes, I've got the referrals here for September 15. They're to the Finance Committee. Appropriations are needed as follows. Number one, appropriation needed for money received from a donation to the 101 General Fund /Program 1 Security of Persons and Property /7110 Police Department /25 Capital Outlay in the amount of $2,500. I was told by the auditor that was for the K-9 program. Number two, appropriation is needed for additional money received for the 267 Coronavirus Relief Fund /7780 General Government /24 Materials and Supplies in the amount of $106,406.63. I will be at Thursday's meeting for any questions, any other budgetary matters, and this is from Auditor Joyce Schiffer.
We need a motion to refer those appropriations to the finance committee.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The auditors, August 31st report, or statement of debt, okay. We don't have
That has to be accepted.
we got a, need a motion to accept the file.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Treasurer's report.
That's just submitted.
No police chief here, no fire chief is here. Need a motion to accept all the city officers' reports.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Visitors' input regarding reports of standing and special committees and of city officers. Is there any visitor that wants to address council? Please, you come to the podium and state your name and address, and you can take your mask off if you want.
On Martha Street. I live at 120 Kincora Drive in the Villas of Whetstone. I'm the acting spokesperson tonight because our two regular spokespeople can't be here tonight. The rezoning, I guess, is moving forward for our area, but we still have this undecided issue about the streetlights. We've brought it up twice before. No one's ever gotten back to us. Mr. Mayor, you said you would get back to us last time, and we haven't heard anything. The ones that, the streetlights, first of all, we prefer to have none. We have pole lights, each of us. All the new construction will have pole lights. And it would be satisfactory to all the residents to just not have any. If you could waive that from this new zoning, that would be appreciated. There have been other things you have waived out of that rezone, which helps us. If you're going to insist on those streetlights, then the ones that we want, they're less money and they're less cost to maintain than the ones throughout the city. We'd like them to be like the villas at Whetstone, the Reserve at Whetstone, and they would match our entrance lights. So it would kind of make it uniform. But we've heard no response. We just kicked the can down the road. It's another month now. We haven't heard any input as to if you're supposed to be looking into it.
Yeah, maybe I could address that. There's some dispute on who pays for those, and that's what, so I'm getting back with you, you wouldn't have liked the answer I was gonna give you, that you have to pay for those.
But
So we're
Brentwood,
trying to see if we can, it's got nothing to do with Brentwood, it's got to do with Kincora. And from what our ordinance says, and what I was told, is that you guys are responsible for those things, and we're just trying to, confirm that and work that out. So we just don't have a final answer yet on it. So,
any chance of it being waived,
well,
the
it's,
requirement?
I have a question.
I don't know.
When you
That's-
say
yeah.
Kincora is responsible, do you mean the developer will be
Well,
responsible for installing
Some-
streetlights?
Anybody but the city would be responsible for it, from what I was told, whether it's the developer or the residents. So, Mr. Ratliff, do you remember what the actual
In the
wording of
past,
that was?
that's how we've handled it?
Well, it was part of the original development plan for the subdivision experience. And before the streets could turn over to the city, putting in the streetlights are all part of that plan. Ordinances require streetlights. So,
How did they get not put in then, back then?
really, I don't think that development ever
No.
fully matured.
No. That's why
And I
we're
don't think it's been
bankrupt.
accepted by the city yet.
We don't see anything where it was accepted by the city.
So-
The same issue we have with the sewer right now.
I'm confused as to who pays for it. Like, are you talking about each individual resident that's out there, or do you mean the developer that's out
Yeah,
there?
As part of the development plan, the developer is responsible for putting in all that infrastructure. So whether he passes on those costs to the individual homeowners or whatever, as part of that original development plan, that's where all that is included.
Okay, so it wouldn't be
But
the
now it's following. that.
homeowners that are there now, though, you're talking about the homeowners that are coming in, right?
No, ma'am. I'm talking about the original development plan from 20 years ago, whenever it was. That was all part of that development plan. And it would have been done before it was all transferred over to the city. But that original development plan is all fallen apart. It didn't fully mature. The development wasn't finished. So such things as remained, the sewers and the streets and things like that have not been fully turned over to the city. So it's not by our ordinance of the development plan, it falls back on that original developer, which no longer exists, to have those things put in before it can be turned over to the city. So now we're being, it's a question of whether or not city and taxpayers pay for the failings of that original developer, or the homeowners that are there now, or the new developers or new homeowners takes that expense off before we bring it into the city.
Did the city accept the streets out there?
I don't
I don't believe we have yet, there were still some sewer issues, so,
Yeah.
we're
we
still,
were
we're still.
allowing the streets?
I believe we do.
Yeah.
We're not part of the city, is that what you're saying?
what I'm
I pay
asking. That's
city
why I'm
income
confused.
tax.
No, the streets and the sewer and the infrastructure are not owned by the city.
So what if they never want to be owned by the city then, and they just?
And they can plow their own streets, they can pay for their own sewer, they can
Re-blacktop their streets?
re-blacktop their streets.
Put up their own streetlights.
Yeah.
Or choose not to put streetlights?
Quick question, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
didn't he just say that they'd be putting up the streetlights anyway?
Didn't he say what now?
That they were gonna be responsible for the streetlights?
If they want to put them up,
No,
if they
he
want.
just said that they had to be there. She's
For
asking
the
how
city,
they
if-
for
if
the
the-
city to take the streets over, they have to be there, but if they don't want the city to take the responsibility of the streets, they don't have to do the stuff to get the city to take the streets. The city won't take the streets unless they have street lights. So if you don't put street lights up, then the city will never take responsibility for that street. Any sense? So what he's saying is currently right now, we don't have the responsibility of those streets. If they want us to take responsibility of those streets, these are the things that our ordinance says have to be done for us to take that responsibility. It's not done at this time because the current developer fell through. should new developer come in and new homeowners and all that, and they want to build, if they want to take that cost on and put those remaining lights in, then that would suffice the obligation for the city to then come in and take over those streets. Am I correct or am I wrong?
In Concord, residents and developer expect the city to put those lights in, you know, using history that we've done in other places. No one has, we've been able to prove that we've done in other places yet, so. And like Mr. Ratliff said, it's, you know, the taxpayer's burden. It comes out of their, you know, our tax
So when
revenue,
Tim,
so.
let's put up that division out there, he did the lights and he did all the work prior to handing it over to the city. The city didn't install those lights.
Where are you talking about?
I think it's called Brentwood.
That's what, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, Jeff Dunn is the long time, but I've only been involved in 6 years, so I don't know how far that goes back, and, you know, we don't have any record of it. He said there's no record of Brentwood, that happening there, so I trust Jeff Dunn's, you know.
Well, he's been here a very long time.
Yeah.
And he doesn't remember who did it? That's all I'm asking.
Who did the lights?
I wanna
Oh,
know
I don't
whose
know.
responsibility it was to put those lights up.
I don't
Well,
know.
that would have been created under a different development plan. I don't know. I don't know how that was created or how that development plan was done. So it's, to a certain extent, it's apples and oranges because there was a development plan for this Whetstone Villas. And it's governed by whatever that development plan was that came through council, got approved, went through all the steps, and got approved. And our ordinances have a very specific provision for creating new subdivisions and all the steps and hoops that get jumped through. And each subdivision that gets created and goes through all those steps may have different requirements, different standards, different things that are applied to it based on how it's developed and how it comes through council. Those are all issues that are going to be specific to each development. I don't know, and I haven't seen anything about the Brentwood one. What I know about the Whetstone one so far is that.
I guess how I see it is, these people have already been there, and you said that development plan kind of,
He went bankrupt.
it's trashed, right? And now somebody else wants to build there. They went through all this discussion of getting an apartment residential, and now all of a sudden, the people that have already been there are gonna be held responsible to put up lights? That's where I'm confused.
No, the developer is.
Just the developer.
The new developers, new builders.
Mr. Myers
Okay.
has a question.
Would this be something
That's not how it
maybe
came off.
that we could refer back to Platting and let Platting kind of help negotiate a way through this and try to bring all the parties together for a discussion? So we can do the research, see what we need to find and
Maybe our ordinance for the streetlights needs changed too or something.
yeah, I mean, I think that's the appropriate place for a conversation about it and see.
It's not ours though, right?
No, but to decide what all needs to be done.
Well, the ordinance that says new stuff coming in.
I need to look at the history of what's been done to help facilitate that. I just think that's a better place to have a discussion. So I'd like to move.
Well, is it already in? It's not already in.
Well, the Concord Drive rezone is still in committee because we have not passed the legislation. So it is, it's up, I think, for an adoption tonight. We can keep it in committee, it doesn't have to be approved.
Okay.
We can bring it up on Thursday.
We'll bring it up on Thursday. We'll try to get some more information here.
Are you aware that the city does now plow around our circle?
That's what somebody said.
And the
just found
city
that.
does do the street cleaning, that machine?
You'll be getting the
Sounds
bill.
like
You
we won't send you a bill for that.
Shouldn't have said that.
Now you're getting billed for that
But
too.
it sounded like you guys didn't think we were getting
Right.
any service
Yeah,
from
they're
the city.
taking, well, and they're,
It's,
you're getting your water
As long as I
bill, you get your
remember.
water bill every month, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's not from the city, but it's.
Does anybody, you have any other public participation?
I kind of do have one more question.
Yeah.
Do they pay out of town water rate?
No, they're in the city limits.
Okay.
And it's not a question of whether they're in or out of the city limits, it's a question of whether or not their road has been accepted by the city and their infrastructure has been accepted by the city. they still have city water, they still have city sewer, their sewer pipes flow into the city, but
we're not responsible for
but
it.
we're not responsible for the repair of them.
Yep, if they break down, we don't have to fix
Right,
it.
Well, there's,
And to the extent.
And it's new, so you guys have not done any repair work.
well,
there
there's,
yet,
there's,
I'm
there
assuming.
are issues with the sewer matching up with the city sewer. There's a dip in it, and we can talk about that Thursday evening too.
Okay.
So that's one of the holdups of it,
Okay.
so.
So I can go back to my person and say that this is being, the zoning is being tabled until this gets resolved? Is that what I understand you to
Well,
say?
we can address that after we pass the rezone. We can
Okay.
still continue to address your
Okay.
issues.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Sorry my voice is so bad tonight.
Does anybody else have any public participation?
You can
Thank
keep
you,
that up
Jeff.
there.
That's okay, thanks.
Yep.
Hearing none. Does anybody need a recess? Consideration of proposed legislation for the first time.
Yes, we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 new pieces of legislation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are ordinances, and 4 of them are resolutions. Ordinance number 29, 2020, amending and supplementing ordinance number 65, 2019, being the annual appropriations ordinance for 2020 by the creation of a 2021 Ohio Crime Victims Assistance Fund subparagraph containing a victim advocate category containing a personal services line item. And finally, by the creation of a 2021 Victims of Crime Act Fund subparagraph containing a victim advocate category containing a personal services line item and declaring an emergency. That's referred back to the Finance Committee. Ordinance number 30, 2020, amending and supplementing ordinance number 65, 2019, being the annual appropriations ordinance for 2020 by appropriating from unappropriated 2021 Ohio Crime Victims Assistance Fund the sum of $8,000 to the personal services line item within the victim advocate category within the 2021 Ohio Crime Victims Assistance subparagraph. Further appropriating from unappropriated 2021 Victims of Crime Act funds the sum of $5,000 to the personal services line item within the victim advocate category within the 2021 Victims of Crime Act subparagraph. And finally, appropriating from unappropriated drug law enforcement funds the sum of $3,750 to the materials and supplies line item within the police department category within the drug law enforcement subparagraph and declaring an emergency. That's referred back to the Finance Committee. Ordinance number 31, 2020, amending and supplementing ordinance number 65, 2019, be the annual appropriations ordinance for 2020 by decreasing the current balance in the contractual services line item by $1,500 within the general government category within the program 7 general government subparagraph, and increasing the current balance in the capital outlay line item by $1,500 within the police department category within the program 1 security of persons and property subparagraph, with both subparagraphs being within the general fund and declaring an emergency. That's referred back to the Finance Committee. Ordinance number 32, 2020, an ordinance setting forth a statement of municipal services to be provided to a proposed annexation area of 3.59 acres, more or less, in Whetstone Township to the city of Bucyrus, Ohio, as required by section 709.023 of the Ohio Revised Code and declaring an emergency. That's referred back to the Planning Committee. Ordinance number 33, 2020, an ordinance accepting the application for the annexation of 3.59 acres, more or less, in Whetstone Township, Crawford County, Ohio, to the city of Bucyrus, Ohio, filed under the special procedure of annexing land with consent of all parties, Ohio Revised Code section 709.023 et sec, and declaring an emergency. That's referred back to the Planning Committee. Resolution number 228, 2020, be resolved that the council of the city of Bucyrus hereby authorizes and directs the mayor of the city of Bucyrus to accept the transfer of certain real property owned by the Crawford County Land Reutilization Corporation and described as address 303 Galen Street in lot 0800 1671,000 from the Crawford County Land Reutilization Corporation and declaring an emergency. That's referred to the Public Lands and Buildings Committee. Resolution number 229, 2020, be it resolved for Ohio Revised Code section 5722 et sec that the council of the city of Bucyrus hereby authorizes and directs the mayor of the city of Bucyrus to transfer certain real property owned by the city of Bucyrus and described herein as 204 West Mary Street in lot 0800 1903 7000 by quick claim deed to the Bucyrus Community Improvement Corporation for $1 and other good and valuable consideration, and declaring an emergency. That's referred back to the Public Lands and Buildings Committee. Resolution number 230, 2020, a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Bucyrus to accept the donation of land located at 817 Woodlawn Avenue, parcel 0800-1529-6000, donated by Scott Crum, and declaring an emergency. That's referred back to the Public Lands and Buildings Committee. And finally, resolution number 231-2020, a resolution authorizing and directing the Bucyrus Public Service Safety Director on behalf of the city of Bucyrus, Ohio, to enter into a contract with Kim Brothers Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Inc., not to exceed the amount of the CARES Act relief funds for coronavirus-related improvements to city properties, and declaring an emergency, and that is referred back to the Public Lands and Buildings Committee.
Any motion to accept those as the first reading?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Those will be referred back to their originating committee. Public participation, any member of the general public may present their input or comments on legislation that's been read for the first, second, or third time. Please state your name and address.
Vicki DeShawn, 1108 Hillcrest Drive. First, I have a question or a comment on resolution number 228, 2020. Section 1 says that the Bucyrus City Council be and he hereby is authorizing and directing the mayor of Bucyrus. I think we have some grammar issues there. I personally feel it should say that the Bucyrus City Council hereby authorizes and directs the mayor of Bucyrus.
Is there anything else with this piece of legislation
No.
besides that?
No.
Mr. President?
I had a comment, if I may interject on
Sure.
the same piece. Also, I believe that we should stipulate West Galen. While there is not a 303 East Galen, there is an East Galen, so I think it should be stipulated West Galen.
Well, I think we should amend this. Does anybody want to make a motion to amend per what Vicki just said and Mr. Myers?
I'll make the motion to amend it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Anything else?
The next is resolution number 229-2020. Section 1, it's the same improper wording. And again, I feel that should say that the Bucyrus City Council hereby authorizes and mayor of Bucyrus.
Is that all with this one too?
Yes.
Move to amend.
Second.
All in favor of amending?
Aye.
All opposed? Anything else?
Next is resolution number 231-2020. The third whereas clause. It says, whereas the current coronavirus pandemic provides a real and present emergency pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 735.01. Well, 735.01 deals with the Director of Public Service and his qualifications and powers. I'm thinking that should read 735.051, which deals with emergency conditions, albeit formal bidding and advertising for contracts.
Mr. Law Director, do you think we need to change that?
Yeah, 051, is this what you did, Tom?
Yeah, I just amended it from the 227.
Yeah, 051 is the ordinance that deals with emergency expenditures.
So we need to amend that, is what you're saying?
Yes.
And Todd, you indicated that you just copied that from the 227.
All I changed was the contractor, and obviously the ordinance number.
So not that,
And the first whereas was that, which, no, just the contractor and the ordinance number, and I don't believe I changed anything else.
so that then brings us back to the 227-2020, which has already been passed by council. That had an incorrect Ohio Revised Code section in it as well. Just a comment.
We can address that separately, but as far as this one here, motion to amend.
Wait a second. So if you're changing the English there, then section 1 has the be and he hereby. You want to change that also?
No, because that's,
Is that
No.
on section 1 on 231-2020? What am I missing there?
because that says that the Bucyrus Public Service Safety Director be and he hereby is authorized.
Okay.
The caption authorizes the Bucyrus Public Service Safety Director to enter into a contract. And that's reiterated down in section 1, so that's correct. The other order resolutions, the caption referred to the council of the city of Bucyrus,
Okay.
authorized, the mayor.
So we're just looking at changing, amending and putting the 735.01 to 735.051. in this one.
Correct.
Move to amend.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki.
Committee report on pending legislation, Finance Committee.
Finance Committee is favorable with ordinance 29-2020, the fund creations. Finance Committee is favorable. Ordinance 30-2020, various appropriations. Finance is favorable. Ordinance 31-2020, the transfers. Platting is now favorable of ordinance 32-2020, East Mansfield Street annexation, municipal services. Platting is favorable to ordinance number 33-2020, East Mansfield Street annexation acceptance.
Public lands and buildings.
Public Lands and Buildings Committee is favorable with resolution 228-2020. As amended. Public Lands and Building is favorable of resolution 229-2020 as amended. Public Lands and Buildings Committee is favorable of resolution 230-2020. Public Lands and Building Committee is favorable of resolution 231-2020 as amended.
Okay, that's all, so we need a motion to accept that report.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consideration of proposed legislation for the second time.
We have one ordinance number 25-2020, repealing and replacing ordinance number 26-2019 and 15-2017, establishing the compensation and human resource staffing, sick leave, and vacation of employees of various departments in the city of Bucyrus, Ohio, and enacting in its place legislation pertaining to the compensation and human resource staffing, sick leave, and vacation of employees of various departments in the city of Bucyrus, Ohio, retroactive to January 1, 2020, and declaring an emergency, and this was previously favored by the Finance Committee.
Need a motion to accept that as a second reading.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public participation, is there any member of the general public that wants to present their input or comments on legislation that's been read for the second time? Hearing none, consideration of proposed legislation for the third time.
Yes, we have two ordinances. Ordinance number 24, 2020, amending the traffic control map and file established by ordinance 2778 in sections 305.01, 305.02, and 305.03 of the codified ordinances of the city of Bucyrus, Ohio, and adding additional signage, all as detailed herein. That was previously favored by the Health and Safety Committee. And ordinance number 26, 2020, amending and supplementing section 1157.02 entitled Official Zoning District Map under chapter 1157, entitled Zoning Districts and Zoning District Map, under title 9 entitled Zoning Districts, under title 11 entitled Planning and Zoning Code of the codified ordinances of the city of Bucyrus by the redesignation of the properties located at the undeveloped properties located at Kincora Drive for parcel numbers 4400 1222 8002 and 4400 1222 8001 from AR, the apartment residential district, into R3, the urban neighborhood residential district, and that has been favored by the planning committee.
Any motion to accept that as third reading?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Public participation, is there any member of the general public that wants to present their input or comments on the legislation that's been read for the third time? Hearing none. Further consideration of pending legislation. Do I hear a motion to adopt ordinance 24-2020?
So moved.
Second.
McKeever.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Mead.
No.
Trucca.
No.
Sherrick.
No.
Vogt.
Yes.
Alsep.
No.
That is 3 yes and 4 no, so that's
So
not.
it fails due to not having enough votes. Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed ordinance number 26-2020, which is Kincora rezoning?
So moved.
Second. McKeever.
Yes.
Vogt.
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Mead.
Yes.
Trucca.
Yes.
Sherrick.
Yes.
Ordinance number 26-2020 is duly adopted. For the second and third For the third reading of proposed ordinance 25-2020, do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the reading of the caption and text, and declare an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
Vogt.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Mead.
No.
Trucca.
Yes.
Sherrick.
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes.
Ordinance number 25-2020.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed ordinance 25-2020?
So moved. Second.
Vogt.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Mead.
No.
Trucca.
Yes.
Sherrick.
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes.
Ordinance number 25-2020 is duly adopted. Ordinance for the second and third reading of proposed ordinance 29-2020. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the reading of the caption and text, and declare it an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
Vogt.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Mead.
No.
Trucca.
Yes.
Sherrick.
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Ordinance number 29-2020.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed ordinance 29-2020?
So moved.
Second.
McKeever.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Mead.
Yes.
Trucca.
Yes.
Sherrick.
Yes.
Vogt.
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes.
Ordinance number 29-2020 is duly adopted. For the second and third reading of proposed ordinance number 30-2020, do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the reading of the caption and text, and declare it an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
Vogt.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Mead.
Yes.
Trucca.
Yes.
Sherrick.
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes.
Ordinance number 30-2020.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed ordinance number 30-2020?
So moved.
Second.
Vote.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Mead.
Yes.
Trucca.
Yes.
Sherrick. Alsep.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Ordinance number 30-2020 is duly adopted. For the second and third reading of proposed ordinance number 31-2020, do I hear a motion to suspend the rules with reading of the caption and text and declare an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
Vote.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Mead.
Yes.
Trucca.
Yes.
Yes.
Sherrick. Alsep.
Yes.
Ordinance number 31-2020.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed ordinance number 31-2020?
So moved.
Second.
Vote.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Mead.
Yes.
Trucca.
Yes.
Sherrick.
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes.
Ordinance number 31-2020 is duly adopted. For the second and third reading of proposed ordinance number 32-2020, do I hear a motion to suspend the rules with reading of the caption and text and declare an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
Vote.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Mead.
Yes.
Trucca.
Yes.
Sherrick.
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Ordinance number 32-2020.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed ordinance number 32-2020?
So moved.
Second.
McKeever.
Yes.
Vote.
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Mead.
Yes.
Trucca.
Yes.
Sherrick.
Yes.
Ordinance number 32-2020 is duly adopted. For the second and third reading of proposed ordinance number 33-2020, do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the reading of the caption and text, and declare it an emergency?
So moved. Second.
Is that Myers first?
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Vote.
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Mead.
Yes.
Trucca.
Yes.
Sherrick.
Yes.
Ordinance number 33-2020.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed ordinance 33-2020?
So moved.
Second.
Vote.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Mead.
Yes.
Trucca.
Yes.
Sherrick.
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes.
Ordinance number 33-2020 is duly adopted. For the second and third reading of proposed resolution 228-2020, do I hear a motion to suspend the rules with reading of the caption and text and declare it an emergency?
So moved.
As amended.
Thank you.
We need a second?
Second.
McKeever.
Yes.
Sherrick.
Yes.
Vote.
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Mead.
Yes.
Trucca.
Yes.
Resolution number 228-2020.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed resolution 228-2020?
So moved. Second.
McKeever.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Mead.
Yes.
Trucca.
Yes.
Sherrick.
Yes.
Vote.
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes.
Resolution number 228-2020 is duly adopted. For the second and third reading of proposed resolution 229-2020, do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the reading of the caption and text, and declare it an emergency, and that's as amended as well?
So moved.
Second.
Myers.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Mead.
Yes.
Trucca.
Yes.
Sherrick.
Yes.
Vote.
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes.
Resolution number 229-2020.
Do I hear a motion to adopt resolution 229-2020?
So moved.
Second.
McKeever.
Yes.
Sherrick.
Yes.
Vote.
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Mead.
Yes.
Trucca.
Yes.
Resolution 229-2020 is duly adopted. For for the second and third reading of proposed resolution 230-2020. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the reading of the caption and text, and declare it an emergency?
So moved.
Second.
McKeever,
Yes.
Alsep,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Trucca,
Yes.
Sherrick,
Yes.
Foote.
Yes.
Resolution number 230-2020.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed resolution 230-2020?
So moved.
Second.
Myers,
Yes.
Sherrick,
Yes.
Foote,
Yes.
Alsep,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Trucca.
Yes.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to adopt or resolution that 230-2020 be adopted? For the second and third reading of proposed resolution 231-2020 as amended, do I hear a motion to suspend the rules with reading of the caption and text and declare it an emergency?
Motion.
Second.
Sherrick,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Trucca,
Yes.
Foote,
Yes.
Alsep,
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Resolution number 231-2020.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed resolution 231-2020 as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Myers, I'm sorry, that was McKeever, right?
Yes, it was.
McKeever,
Yes.
Sherrick,
Yes.
Foote,
Yes.
Alsep,
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Me,
Yes.
Trucca.
Yes.
Resolution 231-2020 is duly adopted. Unfinished business. Does anybody have any unfinished business?
Mr. President, can I just ask a question on ordinance 2420? And that went down tonight, that we had no feedback that there were issues with it. Do you object to taking the two signs out? Do you want us to take the two signs out at Lane? Was that the objection? Or is the objection on River Street? We haven't had any feedback from all the folks that voted no on that. We thought that's been working out pretty well. Am I missing something here?
Lane Street I've
Lane Street,
investigated, talked to the police department, different members of the police department, different people in the area, and I voted no because of that.
Just wondered, because that's our #1 crash site in town. We had no complaints from any residents, and the police department was in favor of it, so, those stop signs, so. Aaron, what were your objections to, if I may ask?
I wasn't big on Lane Street.
Okay, just curious,
It's been there for quite a while, and I hate to say that, it still catches me off guard. I almost run it every time.
do you have objections to the parking on River Street? Okay, anybody have objections to that in case we reintroduce that? James?
I live up on Perry and I've never seen that many people park down through there.
Just for
I've never seen it
safety,
being
for
an
kids
issue.
walking through pedestrian, just because the street's a little narrow there, that's the only reason. Just for kids that are walking down through there, we tried to.
But I could never understand why you wanted to do it in the first place. I mean, there's residents there that live in some high-dollar homes, and if they have people come over, then that's the only place they have to park. I mean, you can't even go around the corners and park or down the street.
Okay, well, I just curious, I wanted to see what, because I hadn't heard any objections to it. and I
Plus,
just
we put
wanted-
a poll up on Facebook for Lane Street and Rensselaer, and we were probably 2/3 wanted it to put back the way it was.
Okay, but that's not scientific at all.
I mean, that's what the residents want.
That's what the Facebook people want, so it's, okay, fine. It's okay, you voted, I just wanted to be sure. Because no one has called us expressing dismay over it, and none of you actually expressed dismay, so it's kind of taken me by surprise.
All the feedback I got was positive for it, so.
Okay, all the feedback I got was positive from, I drive Lane Street every day and I'm grateful for it, so, but it is what it is. Thank you, thank you for allowing me to ask those questions.
Okay, is there any other unfinished business? New and miscellaneous business?
Thank you. We just need to.
Oh,
I didn't have one.
our annual codified ordinance update, we need to refer that to.
We always do that in finance.
Finance committee,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? There's a BZA meeting, 4 PM September 25th. There's one on September 29th at 4 PM as well. October 6th is National Night Out. We may want to reschedule that council meeting that night to the Monday right before that, the October 6th regular council meeting.
Mr. Mayor, is that something that you're considering canceling as well as what the weighted spectacular with the National Night Out?
No,
Or you
no,
think
that
that's
was
gonna continue?
rescheduled, it's a go.
Okay, yeah, we've always done that in years past, when it was in
Yeah.
August. Rescheduled that.
Reschedule that council meeting. So we'll need a motion to reschedule the council meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Today is a very special day. We have a birthday for one of our council members.
We got a cake in here?
But, Mr. McKeever,
Hit a milestone.
I'm not gonna say the number.
You're asking for it.
I'm not gonna say the number, but I think,
30th anniversary of his 20th birthday.
I think we should, sing happy birthday or something. So,
You lead
You're
it.
supposed to bring the treat.
Well, hey,
That's how it works.
we have to sing, it was a request that we received via email to sing
we
happy
did have an
birthday to you.
email
Did
request
have an
came
email
from a
request.
resident.
There was an email request from a resident
I
to sing.
voted.
So.
It's
So,
all-
I guess I'm gonna lead it here.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mr. McKeever. Happy birthday to you.
Speech.
Technically, we could be mean and say that, but we'll leave that one
Okay,
alone.
no,
James, you're not far behind you, so just, your turn's about.
Yeah, but you're all.
nobody's absent that needs excused. Joint regular committee meetings for this Thursday. What's on there, Mr. Hill?
We have three new referrals. We have the annual codified ordinance update. I'll talk about that on Thursday. That's from Council of Finance. We have the rezoning proposal for River Street. That is from the Planning Commission to Platting. And we have the various appropriations from the Auditor to Finance. Also in committee already, and on the agenda for Thursday is the other part of that letter from the Planning Commission regarding BCO 1157.04, which is zoning for annexed, newly annexed properties. That's been in committee for, I think, since January. And then the lighting, the street lighting on Concora, that's in the planning committee. And anything else that you want to put on the committee, on the agenda for Thursday, let me know by all.
The motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
You know, when I'm your age, I'm
We
gonna
are-
retire.
We are adjourned at 8:24 PM.
That's good, Mark, 25 miles. Lisa.